have got to get past this endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing. The right response to speech you don't like is more speech.
Bill Maher has had enough of woke arguments and has taken it upon himself to bring them to an end. In the course of this mission, he has had several targets, with The View's Whoopi Goldberg as the most recent. Some folks might assume Maher is picking on Goldberg for no just reason, but that's not the case. Although Maher didn't have to pick on Goldberg, it is actually her fault she is his target.
Well, I had a different question, but it struck me that in the first segment you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected.
Yeah.
So the term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. And so I was surprised to hear you use the term, because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the Black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words
and
migrate.
So why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice, who's not for that? But words do migrate. Now, I'll use any term you want,
okay,
because maybe that is a word that's triggering, and so let's not use that word. I don't know, want to call it the super far left? But don't tell me the left
or maybe the super far right.
If you were wondering what Whoopi Goldberg must have done to warrant Bill's attention, then you probably know next to nothing about some of her comments. The co-host of The View has had a long list of cringe-worthy comments. Interestingly, the list of these comments seem to be expanding. For a while now, Maher has consistently criticized Goldberg. This might be common knowledge, but he has done more than just criticize her. He has taken time to tear her to shreds. At different times, Goldberg has done different things that have gotten Maher to criticize her, and one of the most recent is trying to offer some form of support to her co-host Sunny Hostin. You see, before Goldberg got into Maher's bad books more recently, her co-host Sunny was dismantled by Maher because she made attempts at twisting his words. After this, he hit her so hard she needed help, and in came Goldberg to the rescue.
And Black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Just like Sunny, Whoopi Goldberg decided to take Maher's word out of context. Maher made a comment about what members of the Black community actually want, and he ended up saying they needed a stable economy, accountable policing, and better jobs. This wasn't a lot, but Whoopi got things all twisted. Although this might be quite a surprise to several folks, it wasn't really surprising to folks that have followed the co-hosts of The View for a while. This TV show, which used to be very entertaining, has now become very political and well known for its divisive opinions on every topic.
Let's tear down statues of Lincoln and get rid of the police. Just, no, it's not that I've gotten old, it's that your ideas are stupid.
He highlighted that Whoopi's ideas likely lack coherence, a trait all too familiar with The View. The show has transformed into the political talk show equivalent of a train wreck, excruciating to watch, yet strangely captivating. Yes, it's notorious for its divisive and, let's be honest, dubious opinions on just about everything. But Sunny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg have taken the pandemonium to a whole new level with their downright outrageous remarks. Remember when Charlemagne the God dared to appear as a guest? You could almost see him questioning if he'd walked into an alternate universe.
All of the criticism is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time and, they act so self-righteous.
This is something a lot of people are completely uncomfortable with. However, lots of them have decided to keep mum instead of addressing the issue. Although The View is now strongly associated with controversial opinions that majorly divide viewers, some co-hosts seem so keen on ensuring that every single subject is viewed in the most divisive way possible. They are reputable for their outrageous remarks. If you don't understand this, then Charlemagne, the God's appearance on The View should help you understand things better. After his appearance on this show, he wasn't sure where he was. For a moment, it felt like he was in a different universe. The co-hosts of The View can come up with the craziest of opinions, and one might think they can't get worse. But once you feel like this is the worst things can be, they decide to take things to a new whole level, and this was when Joe Biden did something that not many people expected him to. While he was president of the United States, Biden openly claimed that no one was above the law and that anyone who committed a crime had to face the consequences. Well, this didn't seem like a strange comment from the former president. Interestingly, it all changed when it was time to live up to his statement. Former President Joe Biden's son was convicted of corruption and related charges. His father could have simply let the law have its course, but that wasn't what he did. He couldn't watch his son Hunter go to prison. So, he gave his son a clean slate. Now the fact is Biden was actually free to do whatever he wanted with a citizen that had been convicted of a crime, and pardoning wasn't a bad move. However, if we were to go by his words, he should have simply let his son do time for his actions. Well, he loves his son so much he would go against his words to give him a second chance. As much as Biden was free to do what he wanted, it also felt like justice suddenly became weak because Biden was involved. Hunter Biden's crime was as clear as daylight, and one didn't need to be an expert at interpreting the law to know that he was guilty. Lots of folks were uncomfortable with this, and one person that made his opinion clear was Charlemagne. His take was simple. If the woke left believe no one is bigger than the law, then they should stick to what they believe.
I'm gonna stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed his mind.
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a sudden?
No, I'm gonna tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over.
Although Charlemagne's take was quite logical, Whoopi Goldberg didn't agree with him. She went on to declare that President Biden actually spoke the truth when he said no one is above the law. Well, if the president wasn't lying, what else did he mean by no one is above the law?
But there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law. Not even the President of the United States.
This is something we might never find out. However, that's not a problem as Joe Biden is no longer the president of the United States. Nonetheless, there is a problem, and that problem is the fact that Goldberg felt she needed to protect Biden. What did she stand to gain, and why would she see something and call it what it's not? It's almost like saying a fire isn't amber while watching an object burn. Goldberg's statement was so bad, Charlemagne didn't know what to do with it. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, Whoopi took things to a whole new level. This time, she claimed the former president had a change of mind, and the reason for this was he was tired with the fact that everyone was surpassing him.
So I'm just gonna follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that
They're
the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground. They don't have to do that.
The woke mob have several issues, and one of them is the fact that they have the ability to spot wrongdoings. However, if these wrongs are done by anyone in their circle, they would never highlight them.
As you said to me in the break, you do not think that all the people who are for Trump are Nazis.
No, I don't.
You
I
don't.
I just want them to pay attention to words like vermin and poisoning the blood and the Third Reich. That's all. That's really what I'm asking.
They see Trump as a comedian. They see him as a clown who says crazy things.
They saw Hitler like that.
Right, okay, but that doesn't mean, you can hate Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. It is half the
I have some in my family. I don't think they're Nazis.
Okay, great. I'm glad we got that. I don't want you hurt in the supermarket.
I have a question for you, because I don't know if you've noticed what I've noticed, but I find that oftentimes when I'm watching the news, I'm only getting portions, because one of the things that happens, I was listening to you talk about the kids that had the Hamas flags. It reminded me of when people were saying Antifa is there, and doing that. So bad players show up and make stuff happen. But do you find that the view that we're being shown seems to be meant to guide us into thinking about people one way, when in fact it may be a much bigger conversation?
Oh, of course. I mean, the media is always going to just chase what is interesting to watch. I mean, I used to be able to watch the nightly news, for example. I can't do it. I mean, first of all, it should be called, here's some video we found that's fun to watch. That's not the news.
Yeah.
Like anything that happens on a plane. Like the plane skidded off the runway, so what? Call me when anybody died, and it's not, the door fell off. Okay. I'm sorry.
No, I understand the door falling off, but you don't want to be up in the air.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. That one I needed to know.
Okay.
Okay.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
And then by the time you get to the last segment, it's just, the bears in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
It's just nothing.
Yeah.
And it's narrative over truth.
On the other hand, if someone from outside their circle does something that seems wrong, they would call the attention of the world to it. With Charlemagne's presence on The View, Whoopi and her co-hosts were able to avoid the truth quite easily. However, things were very different when Bill Maher came on the scene. He came in with so much verbal energy the ladies of The View couldn't deal with. You see, these ladies consider themselves the ultimate arbiters of morality, but for the first time in a long while, the world is beginning to see them for who they really are, queens of double standard. This might seem like taking things too far, but that's not it. Hunter Biden's situation really makes it clear who they are and what they stand for. You see, Hunter Biden was guilty as charged. Regardless of how bad his case was, he was able to walk away with only the stain of what he had done. If this had happened to any other person outside their inner cycle, the woke left would make serious demands, and chief among them would be ensuring that the culprit made it to prison. However, since the culprit is someone from their inner circle, they are more comfortable justice taking a back seat for favoritism to take the front seat. Hypocrisy doesn't get worse than this, and Maher did the right thing by calling it out.
You throw around the term apartheid. There is a gender apartheid in a lot of the world, where women are second-class citizens, at best.
Are you at all concerned about the innocent civilians that have been collectively punished and murdered, largely children and women? And are you at all concerned about the fact that the International Criminal Court just today issued a subpoena for Bibi Netanyahu?
Well, that's ridiculous, but it's a war.
Why?
It's a war. Because it's a war, and they were attacked, and they're defending themselves. Now, this is a war. Do you think Hamas needs to be destroyed? This is the question.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So how can we do that with a ceasefire?
All right. So Hamas needs to be destroyed because they are a terrorist organization who say openly that they want to commit genocide on the Jewish people, on the state of Israel. That's what from the river to the sea means. Okay? And they say it very openly. They said, we did this attack. They've attacked Israel 5 times. They've started 5 wars since they were given that land back.
It is clear what the co-hosts of The View are doing with their platform. Those on their side are happy with what they are doing, but not everyone is, and this brings a question to mind. How long will folks that are uncomfortable with The View's dubious actions continue to tolerate them? For some people, it's basically about the injustice associated with Hunter walking free after committing a big crime. While this will never be denied, there is a lot more. It is basically about a system that picks favoritism over justice so long as the powerful are involved. This system leaves the powerful unharmed and deals with every other person.
But some who seem to be embracing a terrorist organization over the nation of Israel. What do you make of this moment? What do you think it's a result of? How do we fix it?
Well, I mean, it's just astounding to me that they can't tell the good guys from the bad guys. I mean, just morally. I mean, let me tell you, if you're for Hamas, just live in Gaza for a day. And I'm not talking about while the war is on. I mean, before the war. Trust me, you would go running and screaming and begging to live in Tel Aviv, a place that has your values. I mean, women have this is a show watched by a lot of women. Women have no rights in this place, and a lot of majority Muslim countries around the world. I mean, there is no equal rights as far as speech, dress, opportunities for education, reproductive rights, freedom from sexual violence, freedom from sexual harassment.
The LGBTQ community as well.
That too.
Maher's blow on the ladies of The View was definitely very timely, but it was more than just timely. It is a wake-up call to folks that still think they live in a fair society. Things are pretty interesting at this point, but it gets even more interesting.
You know, I mean, it's not like when I hear people talk on either side of it, I always think they're lying. They're just telling me half of it. And I never trust them anywhere until I check out the other half. And it's tedious. You know, I just want one place, and of course it's my book and my show, where you can get both.
You're leading me right into what I was going to talk about, because
And
we are
this
talking
show
about your
too. Sorry.
Yeah,
Here too.
we're talking about your new book, which looks at 20 years of your editorials, re-edited and reimagined, right in time for Father's Day. What do you want people to take away from reading it?
Well, I think I think we're tribal now, which is not good. And I think there's 4 tribes, basically. There's old school liberals, which I would mostly count myself as, old school conservatives. There's still some of those left.
You've changed, though.
Wait, what are the other 2? Go ahead.
Well,
what are the other 2?
Well, that's what I was trying.
The woke left are powerful, and their power comes from the fact that they have the backing of the media, and the way the Hunter Biden scandal got swept under the carpet proves this. You see, before the elections came, to ensure that Biden's chances were not reduced because of what his son did, the media successfully avoided talking about the Hunter scandal.
Was it appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden?
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course. You don't
but
follow
I'm
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true.
The media wanted to stop Trump from getting reelected. So, instead of talking about what Biden's son did and how Biden pardoned his son, they spoke about Trump negatively. Interestingly, Goldberg was one of those that decided to help cover up Hunter Biden's crime. We might never find out why she did this. However, one thing we know for sure is she claimed the allegations against Hunter were illegitimate. Not many people were willing to talk about what she had done, but Maher wasn't one of them. He called her out for trying to stay away from the truth. He didn't end at that. He referred to her and her co-hosts as mean girls that were more like sharks in deep waters.
Worse, since they were given that land back. They could have chosen to turn that place into any place they wanted to, and they took a lot of money that they took from the international community and they spent it on bombs and guns and building tunnels. So if they need to be destroyed, how do we do that? It's a war. I don't know how to do that, and you don't know how to do that. I assume the Israeli Of course, everybody is, but that's what happens in a war. Here's a way to stop that. Stop attacking Israel.
And stop calling for the annihilation of Israel and all the Jews. They're calling for the annihilation of the Jews. And so you can't really defend that on the other side very easily.
But before we go, I want to say...
No, we're not going anywhere yet.
Okay, but I just want to say one thing, as we were talking in the break. Joy is a wonderful human being, and she should not be afraid that people are going to attack her because she said that thing about the swastika on the cap.
Well,
she does not think that as you said to me in the break, you do not think that all the people are for Trump.
They go around looking for anyone that doesn't agree with their ideology, and once they find out any, they swoop in rapidly with the mindset to dismantle. Interestingly, they are not keen on debates on having the right discussions. They are basically about silencing folks that do not agree with their point of view and ensuring their ideology is imposed on everyone around.
Any matters of politics or what's right or wrong, the one thing I know for sure about America is this. It's run by mean girls. Mean girls in the press and in politics and in life. And when they smell blood in the water, the lust to finish off a vulnerable person will never be denied.
While the woke left and ladies of The View have a reputation for silencing their opposition, Whoopi Goldberg is an expert at this. She acts like she doesn't notice opposing views. This has a way of intimidating people. However, she just can't intimidate Maher. He has taken it upon himself to show the world how much she enjoys bullying others and how much of a hypocrite she is. Of course, the ladies of The View are unhappy with what Maher has been up to lately. However, we can't say the same about others. You see, folks that are not comfortable with his tactics see Maher as their hero each time he hits the co-hosts of The View hard. The co-hosts of The View and the woke mob act as if Trump's victory is the end of democracy in the United States, when it actually is a sign that democracy is very much alive. The woke left act like Trump stole the election when in reality, he won because he was voted for. To the woke left, it's as though Trump won because the Russians got involved in America's election. Well, they don't only point fingers at Russia's. They also decided to blame anything trending on Twitter. They do all this while forgetting that in democracy, the other side wins sometimes.
Well,
okay, but we talked about that. I mean, I think we agree about the danger of the super far right, and I can't say it enough. I think they're the bigger threat. But don't tell me that the left hasn't changed. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a joke. But,
too dark, too dark.
Well, maybe it is, but it's true. I mean, you know, if I had any doubt that I was right about the change that's happened in the left, watching people protest for a terrorist organization like Hamas, that straightened me up pretty quick.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that because I think you're almost a free speech absolutist. You believe totally in the right to say what you believe, but I think a lot of us were disturbed to see terrorist flags being waved on American college campuses and seeing this, a generation that some I think genuinely care about the plight of the Palestinians. I think most Americans do.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to check out some of our others on the screen right now.